All right, we are live. Hopefully, you can hear me. Let's see, I just you should be able to hear me better now. So we'll just wait for a few people to show up, come in. I'm going to be doing some painting in here, and I'm going to do some work in here on the sidewalk. I'm going to have to sand this down a bit and then put some more putty in here, get that done. But right now, we're going to just concentrate on painting the sidewalk. So, seeing how I'm viewing the chat on my phone, it's going to take a bit for me to reply to you, so be patient because I'm not over on my computer desk. So, and I see we got Katie Scrapping is here, Canadian Locomotive. How you doing? Kyle Stevens is here. Hi, how's it going? So I'm getting ready to paint. I found some old paint that I bought a while ago, and this one here, full quills, whatever, Railroad Colors. This is a concrete color. This morning I painted the center of the track here, this concrete color, so I kind of like it. So now I'm going to go down either side of the concrete abutments here that we have that looks like a sidewalk. So we're going to start painting that. So, and plus I'm in the process of making dinner all at the same time too. I've already got my paint already shaken up. Just so I don't accidentally get any paint on the road, I got this all set up here with the green tape. And of course we have the copper there watching to make sure I do a good job. And we're going to be working in this area as well, on this side of the sidewalk. I'm going to do some sanding in here, and then we're going to add a little more of this Vallejo putty in here just to get this a little bit smooth, because there's a little bit of a groove here that I don't like, and I want to slowly take this out, and we'll see how this is in this area as well. For right now, we're just going to do some painting. And get this done. Now this has been taking a while to do. It's a good thing I put there because I accidentally went a little over too far with the brush, so I got to be careful with that. Normally I would get my airbrush out, but I just got done painting the road not too long ago, so I really don't want to put any tape on it in case it pulls some of the paint up. So I decided I'm going to do it this way. And just be very, very careful along the edges. I am going to have to do the edge of this on the curb side, so this is going to be a bit of a challenge. But I've got some really fine paint brushes where I can get into very tight and small areas just to get it done. And I kind of like this concrete color. It's going to be a little bit different because I have 3 different types of concrete color. So I thought, well, I'll use this one up. I have it. Back up, you. Yeah, I will try and keep an eye on the chat as much as possible. See how I've got my phone right here, and looking, and look, we have Enfield, Railroad in the loft. Lee, how you doing? Good to see you, man. So we're just gonna go so far down, and then we'll do the other side. Getting all this done. I'm not too worried about getting paint on the rails because I do have my track rubber here, and I can clean that off. So when I undertake a project, sometimes I bite off more than I can chew, but you know what? Even though this module is taking a long time to build, as I build it and sit back and look at it, think about it. Is there any changes I need to make? And if I need to make changes, I better do it now. And I should have my little green tape on this side, but I'm not going to worry about moving it right now because now this is an airbrush paint that I'm using. So you can either use your paintbrush or an airbrush. So now I do have some stencils that I'm going to be doing some road lines with, and this is one of the stencils right here. You can see where I've got it all taped off. Right here. This is where the white line is going to go down the road. So once I'm done everything, this should look really, really good. Just a lot of work. And well, that's what model railroad's all about. It's a lot of work, tedious work. I know there's some modelers out there that, oh, I can't be bothered with all that. That's just too much detail. It's just, well, I'm doing the full 9 yards. I'm trying to do as much detail as possible and getting it all done very slowly. No point of rushing it, because when you rush things, this is where you make mistakes. And then this is where you have derailment and everything. So my advice to everybody who's doing model railroad, just take your time building it. Don't be in a rush. I know you want to run trains and everything, but you know what? Going the extra mile and doing some extra work and detail will be worth it in the long run, because then you're going to sit back and go, hey, I created that. Look at that. And pat yourself on the back. Who else we got in the chat? Well, just you three guys. All right. So I'm going to paint this so far down, and then I'm going to do a little sanding in this area right here too, and then get that done. So I'm trying to do 2 jobs all at the same time. So now we have a little bit of brush marks here, which I don't like. So we're just going to use whatever paint I got left on the brush, and we're just going to slowly pull that back. The paint didn't quite take right in this area, so I don't like it. So, and yes, I'm very picky about things too. So if I was doing this for a customer, I'd be like, if I don't like it, I already know the customer's not going to like it. So, you know, I want things to look just right. And we'll get it all done. Now, I've already got a couple of buildings finalized and where they're going. Get all that done. But I want to get all this street work done. That includes painting the lines on the road. The yellow line that's got to go beside where I'm painting as well. That's all going to be airbrushed in there. So I'm going to have to do a lot of taping. And basically it's how I'm going to tape this down, just so the tape does not stick to the areas that I have painted. I'm just going to put paper over top, and then put the tape on top of the paper so it doesn't go anywhere. That way I can get in with my airbrush to get things done. So you get to sit there, and you guys get to sit there and watch me paint and watch paint dry all at the same time. There you go. Now, I got this idea of the street running scene from watching Virtual Railfan, and I like how the train come right down through the center of town. So I thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to do something like that because I've never done a street running scene out of all the railroads that I built. I never thought about it until I started seeing tracks running down the town, right down through the center of town. And I was like, hey, this is something different. So I've seen that in real life when I was trucking in the U.S. to the small little towns that I visited. There's the tracks coming right down the center of the street. Wow, all right. And I think street running scenes are pretty cool. I really do like how that looks. And we have street running scenes in real life. So I've had lots of practice with paintbrushes. Uh, because I also dabbled in building model cars, 172 scale, and got the knack of learning how to do some dry brushing and did names of the car that were molded right into the body and just lightly went over top. Dry brushed that with silver, and it came out really good. And I entered a couple of model shows back in the day and came in third. It's all about control of the brush and the paint. And just go nice and slow. That's what it's all about. It looks like I'll have to raise the camera up a bit because I'm going down out of the camera view by the looks of things. All right, Lee, thanks for tuning in, man. We'll see you later. Appreciate you stopping by. I hope everybody hits that thumbs up on the way in or on the way out. Be greatly appreciated. Some people say you're just too picky about things. Oh, yeah, well, it pays to be picky because I don't want it to look crappy either. I want it to look just right. Now, all these expansion joints that I'm going over top of, I've got a tiny little tool that fits in there where I can clean out some of the paint. So we have that expansion joint look because I don't want to flood the paint down inside. So this is why we go so far. And that's what you call controlling the brush. Just going to raise that camera up just a wee bit more. I think that should do it. Hopefully. The important thing is not to put a whole lot of paint on your brush either. I missed a couple of areas here, so I'm just going to go. There we go. Now, while I'm painting, I'm also looking at the bristles to see how the bristles are. If I start seeing a bristle hanging down, I'll flip the brush over because I don't want any bristles touching the road, because then you end up with paint on there. So. And I'm not pushing very hard on my brush, very lightly. I'm just doing a very light push. I'm cooking cabbage rolls, so the alarm is telling me, oh yeah, the cabbage rolls ain't done yet because I don't think I set the right time. Go figure. I want a little more paint off my brush here because I have too much paint on here. So I'm just going to take a little off because I missed an area. There we go. Now it's looking better. Just go easy. Easy and slow. And don't push on it. Just guide the brush back nice and lightly and smoothly. And when you start your stroke, keep your brush up. And then as you start to come across, then drop it and then drag it across. And then come up and do the same thing again. Just like this. To try and minimize brush strokes. Because when the paint dries, one thing you don't want to see is a lot of brush strokes. So this is why we start here and come across and start putting the brush down and do it very lightly. You don't need to push the brush down on your area that you're painting. Just go very lightly and just very slowly go along the edge. All right, I'm going to go over to the computer to see how the camera looks. I think I'm going to have to do, oh no, nope, never mind. I don't have to do any adjustments. Curly's Express. Curly, what's going on, Curly? My friend Curly. And you can either do nice long strokes like I'm doing here, or you can do some nice little light short strokes. Especially when you get near the edge, you don't want to get too aggressive. And then if you miss it, take the brush out this way and just tap the edge so you get complete coverage. Now, it doesn't matter about where the rail is. If you're painting with the rail and you want to get it done quick and you're going like this, don't do this. All right, don't do that. Because then you're going to end up with paint all in the expansion joints. And this is what you don't want. You want to do nice, smooth little, and put some dabs. You can do dabs like this. and just slowly guide your brush over, very lightly. See there, I'm just dabbing the spots that I missed right near the edge. Just go very slowly. Don't rush your painting. Just and look at that, we're almost done painting in this area. Now I'm going to hold my brush this way because I don't want my bristles dropping down and hitting the road. So I'm just going to slant my brush this way and come to the edge. Then I'm going to flip my brush over, and then I'm going to do the same thing again. Now sometimes you might need a second coat, but not always. See how I keep flipping my brush around? I'm doing a very light touch. And this is how you get nice paint jobs, by doing a very light touch and doing it very subtly. And you get your paint job will come out really nice by doing this technique. It's a technique that I developed over the years of model painting. And you never forget, it's like riding a bicycle. Just take your time and don't rush it. So when you start rushing things is where you make mistakes. And then you're swearing at yourself and filling the room full of colorful words and everything else. So it's just like, don't beat yourself up. You rushed. Take a pill. Walk away from it for a little bit. Come back and then start again. And then sit there and think about how you're going to fix up what you screwed up without making more of a mess. It took me a little bit to figure this angle out. I got so frustrated, I just walked away from it. Spent 2 hours thinking about it. Then after I spent the 2 hours thinking about it, I come up with this idea. I thought, well, what if I just take my Dremel and cut a little channel and then cut it off? And if I have to sand it down, then sand it down. And that's exactly what I did. This little piece in here basically took me 45 minutes to get to this shape in order to get to where I like it, where I think it's acceptable. I just kept plugging away at it. But when you start getting frustrated about things, when you're building it, that's when it's time to walk away from it. Because the more you spend time there frustrating yourself, the worse it's going to get. Trust me, I know. I've been there, done that. I've been down that road. Well, that's looking really nice. I really like the looks of that. Now, mind you, I am going to come in with a little bit of weathering powders, not a whole lot, a little bit, and just kind of make it look like there's a little oil grease or something that the locomotives have dropped behind there, down the center, on the either side, wheel grease, axle grease, dropping on the outer edges of the rail onto the sidewalk. So I decided to put the sidewalk there. I thought I'm going to do something different and put that there. To stop vehicles cutting across. Because basically, this is a one-way street and this is a one-way street right here. So we have parking over here, parking over there in a very thin area where traffic can get by the parked cars in this area. So in order for cars to get over from this road to this road, they come down and do, like the Michigan turnaround in Michigan. Now, how many Michigan turnarounds have I done in a tractor trailer? Boy, when I seen those for the first time, I thought, great. I have a 53-foot trailer and I got to do this tight little turn to get to the Michigan turnaround. In order to make my turn down the road that I wanted to go, because it says no right turns. Right. Well, I managed to get it done. I did it right, and I swung out enough, and I was just like, oh boy, am I coming close to that post with my trailer. But hey, I got her done. Just took my time. So in other words, so we kind of got like a Michigan turnaround right here down at the end. you know. All right, so what's happening in the chat? Let me do a couple more brush strokes here. And we'll see what's going on in the chat. Can only do one thing at a time, LOL. Oh, Grandpa Rails is here. How you doing, Grandpa Rails? Good to see you. And Dundas Junction is here. James, what's going on, James? How you doing, brother? Now, here's where it gets to the tricky part. Getting awful close to the road. Because the end of this, basically we call it the side. We'll just call it a sidewalk for right now. I shaped it so it goes down towards the road, and of course I made it difficult for myself to get in there. But you know what? We get her done. Now I will put some pictures up. You can see exactly where my brush went at the end of this road, because there's a crossing here. And you can see how I meticulously get my brush in there and just slowly work it back and forth. There we go. So that is all finished. So we painted from here down to here. I did this earlier this morning to see how it would look, and I thought I'll do a little test area. I like it. When I get back from work today, I'll do the rest of it. And I'm still not, for some reason, the paint's not taking here properly. What is going on with that? Well, let's try brushing it the other way and see what happens. Maybe it'll fill in what I'm missing. Because this is styrene, and I know styrene doesn't really like to take a whole lot of paint properly unless you sand it. So, well, we'll see how that dries. Now, all this road surface here is all 3D printed. Everything is 3D printed. The sidewalks, the road with the sidewalk on this side with the sewer system, and yet we'll be getting in there and painting the sewer system this color. And there's little tiny little runs in here like so. So I'm going to go wash out my brush, and when I come back, we're going to work in this area here. All right, well, that didn't take long to clean out that brush. All right, so we got some sandpaper. What kind of sandpaper are we going to use? Well, see, I got this little block sander that you can get at any hardware store. And I'm going to start by removing this excess right here. And do some light sand. And go over my area that I puttied. It's always good to have a block sander. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to get a little aggressive. This is what is this? This is 80 grit. So I'm just going to get a little bit aggressive with this right here. Lightly. See how that comes out? There we go. That's the overage I didn't want. Now we're going to do this area. I'm going to flatten this out as much as possible. And I'm not pushing very hard. I'm just doing a light sand back and forth. It pays to work in an auto body shop because you learn how to sand things. And because I used to work in an auto body shop many years ago in my teenage years. Did sanding and prepping and always ran my finger. Your finger tells a whole lot about what's going on in the surface just by the feel. And you want to sand it to the point where if there is a groove there, it's going to come out, and then you can fill it. Fill that groove. See, there's a little bit of bubbling right here. I can feel it with my finger. As I run my finger, I can feel the bump. So we're going to take that bump out, but I don't want to be too aggressive. I want to do a light sand and smooth it down slowly. Because once we got this painted, you'll never know that this area was filled with putty. You just got to make sure. You got to work with your sandpaper too, right? So, all right. It's this excess right here I don't want. So I'm going to take this excess out. Okay, it's slowly coming out. See that? Remember how much of the excess of overage of putty I had? Now we've got this area cleaned up. Now I'm going to go over top. I'm going to put my one finger right here to make it nice and flat and just do short strokes back and forth. And I'm not pushing very hard. I'm doing a very light sand. All right, seeing as how I've built up around here, I also used this here as an edger to make an edge because there's no edge right here. So now I want to sand that edge. I want to get that curve just right. This is where the tedious work comes in. This is where a lot of guys go, oh, I'm not doing all that. That's going overboard. Well, that's too bad. That's you. See, and I've got the sandpaper bent this way, like this, and holding it tight against that edge and going back and forth. So I sand this little putty area. And I know this is a lot of work for Sparky. He would never do something like this. Yeah. All right. Bye, Toyman. All right. See you later. James. All right. Now it's for the big area. I'm going to use my sanding block because there's a lot of highs and low areas in this area right here. Now I want to get rid of the access here. There's a lot of access right here. Okay, I don't want that there because that's going to show up when I go to paint this. So we're just going to get rid of that. And because there's an expansion line here that I want to keep, so I'm going to get rid of all the access that goes over, and then I'll groove it out when it's time for painting, once I get it all done. So there we got rid of the access. A little more access here. We're going to get rid of all this. Yes, it's tedious work, but see, we got rid of more access along here. Do a light sand. Get rid of that. Now there is a groove right here. There's still a groove there that I still have to take out. Used to be a lot bigger. It was bigger this morning. It's not as big now. So we're going to smooth that down a bit more. Take it down. Here it's nice. Right across between this sidewalk and that sidewalk, right in here. That's perfect. That's just fine, just like that. So just take down along the edges here on either side of this. So on this sidewalk and that sidewalk, it's still it's a little high there. So we're just going to take those edges down, and you see how I'm putting my fingers and pressing down, and do nice short little strokes. Tedious work. Now I'm going to curve my finger up. I'm going to move over that way, remove some excess there that I don't want. Brush it off. Almost got it. There, see that? See how I'm following the line here, coming back and taking all the excess off, because I am going to have to put another coat in here. So I don't want too much buildup, so I want to take out as much buildup as possible, and then do it again. Now I am going to just lightly pull back this way. There we go. There's a little rough little rough areas that I can see. I just want to smooth those out. There we go. I sandpaper the right way. All right. Now it's time for some putty. There we go. All I want to do is fill that groove. Let me take me trusty putty knife, and of course I got to clean the end of it off. Never leave anything like this on your putty knife. That's a big no-no. Because all you're going to end up doing is making grooves. So sand it off and get the edge of your putty knife nice and smooth, like the day you bought it. Okay? And clean it off. Still a little bit of a groove there. So I'm just going to add, because I probably didn't add enough. And we're going to have overture again, which I'm going to have to sand off and slowly get this area built up. So the groove starts here that I can see because it's wet. It tells me where the groove is. Oh, what you do, clog up on me? I know I'm running low on this one tube, so I don't want to open the other tube up until I can't get any more out of this one. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay. So again, with a nice clean edge. And that takes care of that. Let's see what I did with my finger. I said, oh, I made a groove, so I just kind of lightly filled in and went over it again. So again, we'll let this dry overnight. And tomorrow, when I come home from work, I'll sand all the excess off that I don't want again, especially in the expansion joints, and carve it out, and then get that smooth. And this should be ready for painting tomorrow. Once I get all that sanding done, then we can paint the rest of that. Now I am going to have to get in with my airbrush and paint the rest of the road here, because I did use some filler in here in order to make this. So, and then I'll just blow all this off. So I'll probably airbrush from here. Now the color of paint that I use, and it's a water-based paint. I thought, you know what? I still have some of this asphalt top coat that I can probably use. And I tried using it, and I did a small little section by hand painting it, and I just didn't like it. It looked too damn shiny. I had shiny areas, and I thought, nope, that's not going to work. All right. So I started thinning it out with some distilled water because it is a water based paint. So I thinned it out enough where I could put it through my airbrush. And trust me, I ended up with a lot of clogs in my airbrush, a lot of trial and error, and I finally found the right consistency. Just add a little more distilled water and the water. You don't want to add water out of your tap because it's got too many chemicals in it. So always use distilled water when you're thinning out your water-based airbrush paints. And seeing as how this is water-based, I've already thinned that out when I first bought it. I just basically made 2 bottles of this, and this is the last one I have. And I can't get this paint here in Canada anymore, apparently. Even though it says it's non-toxic, but the Canadian government, oh, it's too toxic for over here. Okay, whatever. Anyways, so now I've got some other concrete colors that we are going to end up having to paint the sidewalk a little bit here down. So I'm going to make it as old concrete, new concrete slabs being poured like you would see in the average city, or try to get close to that representation. So Gary Sharks in the house. How you doing, Gary? What's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by, man. And let me catch up on the chat here. DMRJ is here as well. All right. Are you still here, DMRJ? If you are, hey, welcome. Welcome to the stream, man. So, all right. So, this Vallejo putty, I put this right in between here. I printed this off. This is a 3D print that's in the center of the track. I seen that and I thought I'll print that off and put that in instead of trying to use styrene. And styrene is getting awful freaking expensive anymore. It's almost $10 per one sheet. And it's like, really? I'll make my own styrene and basically 3D print roads, cut them the way I want them. Boom. There we are. And here's one of the 3D prints that I did. I used up my green, and look how it all came out. It came out funny because I don't like this PLA, so I won't be using this PLA anymore. But hey, it's going to make for a great rural road because it's got warps and dents and everything in there. So once I paint this all black, and then I'll probably end up cutting the sidewalk off because it gets printed with the sidewalk in the sewer. So I'll just cut that off with a pair of scissors, and it's easy to cut too with scissors, and fill this line in. I don't know why the guy whoever designed the road, well, I know who designed it, I forget his name, but I had to fill that in with that Vallejo plastic putty in order to hide that, because he basically made this line for you to put white paint in to make it look. The cars are supposed to park here like that against the curb, right? While truck traffic passes by. Okay. So I turned the road around and put this end here. So now we have that line right there. So now I made the road wide enough because I just put the sidewalk just on the very edge. And then we have the truck going by where the cars are parking. And then it's just enough room for the train to go by. It gives me, significant space. But see how it just glides over? And just glides over. So I use the Vallejo putty in here on this end and down here. Now, let's see here if I get this pointed right. Now this crossing here is 3D printed, and the track sits down inside. So I have 2 of these installed on this line. Hopefully the camera lined up. I got that lined up right. Yeah, I did. So these are 3D printed grade crossings. There are 2 different ones, one for code 100 track, which I use, and then for code 83. Now, the other thing that I 3D printed, I've seen another road system. Thought, well, I'll print that off, and I'm going to line that up just like that so I can turn so the road goes this way. And I got to raise that up just a wee bit. So you can see how thick this is. It's a lot thicker than this. So I'm going to put that there and curve it down so it goes downhill a little bit. So I'm going to have to bolt this one down just so I can get it to turn and curve. And then continue on with this here that way. So that's how that's going to work. So I printed one of these off. Yes, I know. I just use whatever PLA I had left over just for test prints, and I kind of like that. So it's just like, boom, there's your nice little road system. To make a curve, gives you the right width and everything. Everything I do is all 3D printed. The other thing I'm going to do, I printed out some stencils for railroad crossing, so they're going to be airbrushed in. I'm going to try and airbrush all my lines in and get all that done. That's why I have this here. Okay. So that goes to that side. That gives that enough room. And then we have enough room for cars to park right here. So it'll be a solid white line going down to a certain point where the curb is going to turn red and you can't park there because I'm going to have to make turning lanes and everything else all down through there. So this is a big undertaking. This module probably won't be done until, we're getting into February, March, probably April. This module will be done. I'm just taking my time. I've got all the buildings 3D printed that I'm putting in on here. And I got lights and interior in some of them. All the buildings are going to have lights, some with interior, some without interior. So we'll have vacant shops and things like that. And with all the street lights, traffic signals and railroad crossings, I'm not going to have operating gates. I'm just going to put in bucket lights. Because I don't feel like drilling holes through here and trying to hook that shit up. It's bad enough. I'm bad enough. I got to put sensors in here and then try and drill sensors through this stuff in order to get the lights to turn on and shut off over here when the train gets to a certain spot. When the train comes up, it turns the lights on for here, the crossing signals. It's bad enough I got to try. I can't remove this because I Gorilla Glue this all down. If I try to remove the centerpiece, I'm just going to destroy the track. So I'm not going to destroy the track. So I got to be very careful how I drill through this stuff. If I decide to do that, I just might put my sensors at that end and put the shutoffs down here. Who knows how I'm going to do it? Or maybe I'll put some infrared beam sensors in instead. And that way, when it breaks the beam, it'll set the lights off. Different ways of doing it. So, me and my big ideas. I'm also cooking dinner at the same time. So I got cabbage rolls in. So I got to go check my dinner. All right, I just threw some mozzarella cheese on my cabbage rolls. Get those back in the oven. I gotta cook French fries and go along with it. All right. We got that done. So the next step is I'm going to be working over down to that end. Now the other thing I'm going to do, and we'll get that camera. I can't move the camera because it's stationary. It's on a tripod. I'm already at the. I don't want to move it around just in case we get disconnected. But let's see. Let me run back to the computer and check things. Okay. So down at this end, we do have an uncoupling magnet here because this is the track here that goes to the brewery that I have. And this is the through track. And then this is basically a spur line, which is where the yard engine and everything or a road tramp runs around to all these different areas. This is the only one main line that we have that goes through the city. I'm going to be putting another uncoupling magnet here because just on the other side of the other module, we have a switch into a warehouse. So that'll be the next thing I'm going to be doing. I'll save that for the weekend and get that drilled in and get that installed. So, and as for the buildings, well, let me see here. Let me get back to my stream. So this building's done. All I got to do is attach this roof to it, and of course paint it black. All the windows and everything have been hand painted. I'm not sure if you can see, but there's an interior, and we have lights in here. So we have two lights in the bottom, and then we have three lights. Two lights in the bottom and one light for the top right here. So three lights in this one. You can see where I've got the lights. Oh, would help if I had this in the camera view. And you can see where I've got the lights and the floors. And there's the interior on that building. Now, I did put an interior in this building, but you can't really see it that much. I tried to pull out the windows. The window's a little fogged, but once it's lit, we've got, this is going to be Fishy's, what the hell did I say it was going to be? Oh, Fishy's dance bar or nightclub or whatever. So we've got people sitting in restaurant tables, and then we got a bar back in here, and we got lights. So there's only two lights in this one that I put in. I got that all sealed up and everything. So we'll see how it turns out. There's people standing and talking, and so that building is done. Now the next building, and I'll take the backing off of it. This is a really old building that I bought. This is a kit. Basically, I put this in. It says First National Bank. So here's my bank. So the bank is going to go down here. I'm sitting right like that. So what I did was use some window coverings. These are all offices for like bank and an office building type deal here. So I did put an interior in. So here we have this guy's sitting down here looking for a loan, and we have a couple of tellers here, like three tellers. Here's a little tiny computer right here. People in the bank. There's a couple of people sitting on a couch in here. You know, stuff like that. So this has got lights. These have floors here. So I am going to be putting stuff here where you can see through the window, where you can see the office. The floor, this top floor, I'm not going to do anything with because I messed up. I put the floor up a little too close to the window. I should have dropped it down like this. That's my mistake. Here are the LED lights. I'm going to put two more lights in for the bottom. So we have the top floor, the second floor. Basically, I'm not going to bother putting in this floor here because I want that to shine down. But I am going to put a couple more lights in here so we have this lit more. So that's how we're going to do with that. So these buildings are finalized and where they're going. So we've got that's going right there. The furniture store is going to go. Basically, furniture store is going to go on the other side. Fishy's nightclub is going to go right here. And then I still have to put this building together, which is 3D printed. This is going to end up going down here somewhere. This has not been finalized or where I'm putting this yet. This one here. So this is another 3D print building. This building is also 3D printed, which has got to be finished. That's been finalized because that's going to go right here next to the bank. So we got those buildings finalized. So we have basically this one, which I'm going to have to do an interior, put the lights in and everything. Finish painting this off. Getting all that done. And then we have 3 more buildings that are going to go in this area, which is right here, which is I'm in the process of building and doing. So these are basically Spanish inspired buildings. So there we go. Kind of nice high rise. Basically, I'm going to glue these all together to make one big building. As you can see, we have lights in there as well. They're going to shine down, and I still got to put window coverings in. So this is going to be a bit of a project. So basically, in here, we are going to we have to have a small little restaurant in here, and basically. Oh yeah! Oh, thank you for coming. Oh, would you like some Chinese food? Oh, thank you for shopping at China, huh? So I'm gonna put a Chinese food restaurant right in here. There's where you go. There's the doors, and boom, they're right in there. And basically, this is going to be apartment buildings right there. So you walk in through that door, going through it, and up the elevator, and away you go. Look at that. And then we have to put a couple of sub shops in, probably Subway somewhere is going to go in, probably on this side of the street over here, dummy, over here, Subway. We'll get things done. So. Well, I think it's going to be time to switch cameras. I'm going to go back to the computer desk and switch cameras. And if anybody's got any questions or no tickets, no laundry. Yeah, no tickets. Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be that big truck like that coming down the road. And there's going to be a cop right behind him pulling him over. Because he's on a no truck route. There you go. Now I did see one thing I thought this is going to be hilarious. I got an idea and I'm thinking this over. Over at Pete's Train, there is a couple of these police crews over here, but it says U.S. Customs Border Patrol. So, and I should put that on one side of the road and have this Canadian cop on this side of the road. And there we go. We have a Canadian side and an American side with no tariffs. You got to joke about it. If you can't joke about the Canadians and Americans having a little hissy fit, well, what the hell? That means life is getting too damn serious. Like, really? Uh, I can't wait to move to the U.S. Oh, there we go. Don't forget, we have to have the taxi cabs here too, right? So I got two of these. And then, of course, I got a FedEx truck, and I need to get myself a UPS truck and have them clashing with each other and fighting and everything. uh, I did buy a couple of new items not too long ago. I bought myself this here is a nice yellow Peterborough Pete Peterborough, and I got myself a nice blue Kenworth. Look at that. Even got myself a nice little shiny fire truck. Look at that. There we go. So we have a fire truck, and hey, this actually works. This ladder is supposed to extend. Hang on. All right, there. Out you come. There we go. There we go. We'll have the fire truck and whatever building it's doing, and bingo. There we are. We'll have the cop blocking the road. There we are. So my first fire truck. Okay, gotta go. Dinner time. All right, Joe. Well, enjoy your dinner, man. Yeah, my dinner's almost ready too. So just waiting on the French fries, and then I got to put my cabbage rolls back in and melt the mozzarella cheese over the cabbage rolls. Yum yum yum. So there we go. I did send Fishy a link, but I don't know if we're still going to be live because I know she's working right now. She's got things on the go. So I decided to go live. It was the spur of the moment thing. I thought I haven't gone live in a while. So I thought we'll go live and do some painting. We'll do this area here and talk about what's going to be set up all in this area here. So. And trying to get things done. Now, the one thing, there is a backdrop going to be going up. And I do have one of these. It's a big city skyline. So with some nice, real tall buildings. So that should look good on this side of the layout where you see that tube. So it's going to go on this side. So we'll see. I'll have to get some wood for it and build a frame around here and get that up. Now there will be a backdrop in my mountain scene. I have the Rocky Mountain backdrop still. And I'm going to have to reorder some backdrops because some of them got damaged during the move. So, where I'm going to put them and how I'm going to blend them in with each other, that's going to be the other challenge. So, that's me. I like to challenge myself. But the thing is, in model railroading, if you don't challenge yourself, how are you going to improve on your modeling skills and your techniques and everything? By challenging yourself and making things more difficult for yourself, which I have a habit of doing, makes you a better modeler, apparently. It's supposed to, anyways. Correct me if I'm wrong. Type in the chat, I'm all wrong. Hey. Oh, Carrion Company. Hey, Carrion Company, all the way from Australia. How you doing? Good to see you. And Not a Great Gamer is here. Wow. Good to see you, Gamer. Gamer all the way in the UK. So that building goes there. Then my furniture store goes on that corner right there, like that. And then, of course, the bank is going to go right here. Get that track out of there. That's not supposed to be there. The bank will go there. And then we have this building here, which goes right here. And then we have this Spanish style buildings right here. So basically the big one goes like so. This one goes on the other side of the big one. And this little one goes right here. Looking right like that. I'll just move my camera around so we can just kind of see the street scene. Angle it down, go have a look at the computer. Got to raise the camera up a bit more. Not too much more, just a wee bit, I guess. Like so. There we go. Then we'll put the fire truck on the other side. There we go. There you go. There we go. Got the trucks out of the way. Put the cop over here. Blocking the intersection. There. There we have it. And then whatever buildings I'm going to be putting over here. Well, actually, I did finalize 2 other buildings. What am I talking about? Where did I put those? I got some apartment buildings that. The hell did I put? Oh, there they are. All right. That one's going to go here. And we have this next one going over here. Down there. So actually I got 5 buildings finalized where they're going. So there we go. So we move the camera down over this way. And maybe drop that down a bit. Then tilt that up a bit. Run back and forth. There we go. Well, I would just put a locomotive on here just for looks. There we go. There we are. So that's how that's looking so far. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings finalized. Actually 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 buildings altogether. Because these are 3, so that makes 9. I get these all in, and they get all my peoples in here too as well. And we'll start filling this street full of traffic. So we got a truck parked off to the side. He's in there shopping. Got a taxi cab going down there. We got the cop pulling in behind the truck because he's not supposed to be parked there. We got this guy in the bobtail. He's coming up behind the fire truck. He's cursing and swearing because there's a fire going on in that building. So there we go. Yeah, that's going to look really good, especially when I get my camera car and start running my camera car through here. Once this is back out in the garage and attached to the layout, and get the rest of it done. That's the street running scene with the camera car is going to look awesome. Yeah, that's looking really good. I'm really happy of how that turns out. And you know that these sidewalks are down just enough clearance for the plow. That's my one concern when I started doing this. I test fitted it before I even glued the first piece in of that. That's perfect. And every time I glued a piece in, I just ran this locomotive like this, just dragged it along to check to see if it was going to catch on anything. And not catching on anything at all. Perfect. That's going to look awesome. There you go. I'll do it. I will hook up some power to the track while I got it down here and run a locomotive back and forth. Oh, something I got to fix. Oh, no, I don't have to fix that. Anyways, just run it back and forth and have this camera down so it's down more or less like street level. As you can see the locomotive coming through. Just do a slow test run. I already know that the flange ways in this area clear because by pushing it, I'm not feeling no binding and nothing rising up and everything, so which is really good. So I've cut those flange ways really nice. And I used an old set of locomotive trucks that I had kicking around. I just put the old set of locomotive trucks on the track. Once I put my putty in and smoothed it out with my finger, I just ran the trucks back and forth and cut the flanges in, let it dry, added another little bit of putty in here, did the same thing, cut the flanges in, and then just painted it black. So I did this area and the area down here that way. So yeah, chew, choo choo. Well, my fries are almost done. It's almost time for me to sign off and go have some dinner. There we go. Hook up that car to the back of that locomotive. And then we're all set. We still got 9 people watching. Wow, really? Okay, there you go. So that's pretty much going to be it for working on the layout for, today, because I have to wait for this to dry. This won't be dry until tomorrow morning. So probably when I wake up, I might do a little bit of sanding, or I just might leave it alone. I think the next time I go live probably won't be until the weekend now. Because through the week, I probably will. I still have to do a little bit of puttying. Here, just move the camera down. Give the phone a little bit to catch up. I'll wait for the phone to catch up before I start pointing. There we go. So now I am going to have to do a little puttying in here. There's a seam in here that I don't like. I want to kind of remove that, and this seam across here. And there's another little seam that I'm going to have to re-putty across here as well to get rid of that. And then down this way. And then another one here, which I'm going to have to putty in. So I want this to look like just one big piece. Okay. So a little bit of puttying in there. I'm trying not to do too much down here because like I said, this is all repaint. So I'll have to repaint probably from here this way and do a repaint in here. And that means taping all this off and putting paper over it so I don't put the tape on my new paint job just to keep protect it. And then I don't care about this because if I accidentally sprayed this black, no big deal. I can always put some paper down here and then tape this section off once the road's all painted, and then get this painted up as well. So I don't know if I'm going to airbrush this or if I'm just going to hand paint this. I haven't decided yet. Airbrush is so much easier and faster, but you know, I enjoy hand painting too as well. So I don't have it. I already know that I don't have enough of this concrete color to do the rest of the sidewalks on either side of the for the city, so I'm going to use a different colored concrete. It's going to be different looking, but it is what it is. But it should look nice once it's all done. All right, we're going to raise the camera back up. There we go. Make sure I'm in the camera shot. Maybe not looking at the ceiling. I don't know. The computer's over there, and I should have my screen turned around the other way so I can see it and do adjustments. But oh, there we go. Okay, let me see here. Oh, I always stay safe, especially lately. It's been in the minus 20s. That's Fahrenheit, by the way. It's freaking cold. So I got my phone here where I can see the chat. As you can see, I live in a very small place. This is the heating duct. I got a duct under, so. But it is what it is. Cheers. So I have to get up early in the morning, strap another steel load, and take another steel load to Guelph, Ontario, like what I did this morning. That's what I do now, people. I don't haul drywall anymore. I don't haul concrete. Now I'm hauling steel billets. So I'm hauling steel and chaining it all down. So I'm giving myself a workout. Strapping and chaining things down, putting binders on. It's keeping me in shape. That's for sure. Of course, I enjoy it too. I like hauling steel. It's a very, very different type of work. It's dirty because I gotta throw rusty chains around, so the rust is getting off and getting on my clothes, and it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. But hey, at least I'm making good money. That's the main thing. But I also make sure the load's chained down good and tight. So no, I don't need to relax, man. I'm a hard-working man. I'm used to working my butt off. Before I became a truck driver, I was a roofer during the summer, and I was cooking in restaurants in the wintertime. And if I wasn't cooking in restaurants, then I did picture framing for I don't know, close to 15 years. I was picture framing, and then I did worked on a farm. I worked on tobacco farms. I did corn tasseling. You name it, I've pretty much done it. Pretty much put up fences, eaves troughs, siding. My mom calls me a jack of all trades. I don't get bored. I just thought, well, I'm going to try something new, something different. So, wasn't always a truck driver. I'm a roofer, and roofers are perverts. Hey, look at that baby walking down the street. Woo! Now I'm a truck driver. And just think, well, you got a cushy job. All you do is sit behind the steering wheel all day. No, actually, I'm getting out of my truck and I'm throwing chains and I'm strapping loads down and chaining chaining loads down. The chains are 75 pounds a piece that I'm throwing. And I have to throw those across the trailer. And then go around and tighten up and get them tight as possible by hand, and then put the binders on and start using the ratchet binders. I like the snap binders better, but it takes a lot of effort, and if you're not careful, if those things can bounce back and break your jaw. So you have to be very careful, and you don't want to lose your balance. So you want to make sure you sit down when you're cranking down on that thing, because once it gives, it drops. Right? So that's why I like snap binders, because it straightens out and tightens up that chain just like that, instead of a ratchet and then slowly just pulling the chain in tight. And you're sitting there going, hey, when are you going to start tightening up? Oh, there it goes. Oh, there it goes. Oh, there it goes. And then you're like, gets to the point where you're grabbing it by two hands going like this. And then you're putting a bar on top, and then you're cranking it back down again. All right, now we're going to do this. Snap binders are quicker than ratchets. But I only got two sets of snap binders. The rest are all ratchets. So, and the trailer that I use for steel, we have one trailer that's got nylon straps. Which I strap that load steel down with the nylon straps with edge protectors. But then I also throw 4 chains on the load as well and chain it down as well. So I do extra. The other trailer that I use is a chain only trailer. So I put, if I'm having 2 layers of steel, which are stacked on top of each other, there are 5 chains on the bottom and there are 5 chains on the top. That load is not going anywhere. That won't shift, slide, or anything, because I tighten that right down. I don't have to put that many chains on, but because I'm the one pulling that trailer down the road, I want the extra security. So I'm putting 4 extra chains on there that I really don't need. But you know what? I'm the one pulling it down the street. I don't want it falling off the truck or killing somebody, and I don't want it come visiting me in the cab and killing me. So I'm gonna go the extra mile and go overboard on the chains. And I don't care what dispatch says. What's taking you too long to chain up your load? Oh, that's too bad. I'm the one pulling it down the street. You're sitting in a nice, cozy, warm office, aren't you? Leave me alone. Let me do my job. I know what I'm doing. You want the load there in one piece, or do you want it scattered all over the highway? You can't have both. Pick one or the other. If you tell me you want me to scatter it all over the highway, that's when I get out of the truck, throw you the keys, and go home. Don't work for a company like that. All right, I think I'm going to sign out, people. Dinner's ready, so I'm going to go have my din. Maybe Fishy and I will go live later on tonight, depending on what Fishy is thinking. I'll have to ask her. So when I hear from her. So, anyways, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, watching me paint and do a little putty work around the sidewalk area, and you can see exactly when I'm working and how it's turning out. Until the next time, we'll catch everybody later. Happy model railroading, and later.